Hi, I'm going to teach you how to make this sweet little quilted zipper bag. It's good for holding sewing supplies, crochet supplies, makeup. It can be a travel bag. It has lots of uses. So let's get started. This is an example of the supplies you will need for this project. Specifically, scissors to cut down your materials to size, or a cutting mat, a ruler, and a rotary wheel. You will also need 2 fat quarters of complementary colors. You'll need a complementary color 7-inch zipper. You'll need complementary color thread and thread in your bobbin. Now I'm using the green thread that's going to go on the green material and the off-white thread that's going to go on the multicolor material. I have this on the bobbin because I'm going to be marking the green material, which will be the inside of the pouch, with the lines in order to do the quilting stitch. So I have the bobbin as white because that material will be on the underside of the pattern while I'm sewing it. You will also need something to mark your material. I have a chalk pen. You could use disappearing ink pen, but then you have to sew quickly. You could use a pencil. I have also seen some people use a bar of soap, and then it all just washes out. Another material you will need is some cotton batting. You'll be cutting this down to the same size as your materials. Then you'll need a sewing machine to do the work. Okay, I have washed and dried my materials before I started working with them and ironed them so that they would cut straight. I have cut my inside material to 5 by 10 inches. I ironed it and then ironed it in half to give me the center crease. That way, when I make my markings, I'll know exactly where the center of the fabric is. Next, I've cut my main fabric that's going to be on the outside to measure 6 by 11 inches. I've also cut my batting 6 by 11 inches. So let's get started. I have my center line from where I ironed it. I'm going to be using chalk to make my lines, and I like using these see-through rulers because it makes it easy to see where the last line was that I made. So I have the center line. I'm just going to quickly do a line over it so that I can see it easier through my ruler. So then I'm going to line it up. I'm going to do it an inch spacing all the way across. Alright, now that I've marked my inside fabric with all of the lines, I'm going to sandwich the batting between both sets of material. So the proper side of the fabric should be facing out and the wrong side of the fabric should be up against the batting. So I'm going to center my smaller inside piece centered on top of the batting and the other fabric. That way, as I sew, it's going to, if it shifts, it's still going to have fabric behind it. Once I'm done sewing it, I'm going to cut around the outside edge so that we have a sharp edge and all pieces will be the same size. So let's get started. Okay, so as you can see in my machine, I have my light colored bobbin thread and then I have the complementary colored thread up on top because the green portion is going to be on top while I'm sewing. So I'm going to start in my center line again, that way it will maintain an even tension across the piece. So we're just going to sew the quilting stitch right across. What I mean by that is just that we're quilting all 3 pieces together. I'm sure that there's actually a specific stitch that's called a quilting stitch, and I probably do not mean that when I say that. Okay, so I did a back stitch in order to anchor the fabrics, and you're going to do that at the top and at the bottom of each line. So then stitch across the line. And then back stitch at the bottom. And you'll do that going from the center out and then over, out and then over, out and then over. Okay, so here is my finished and nicely cut piece. So you can see the pieces are the same size now. So I'm going to cut this one to match. Now, if you have not been trimming your end strings as you went along, you'll have some that are sticking out. So you just want to pull those out so that you cut them as you cut off the edge. Okay, I'm going to be using my rotary cutter, so I will line up the edge, roll along. Makes the cutting pretty quick and easy. At the edge. Okay, so now we have both pieces are the same size and we're ready to put them together. Okay, now before we actually sew around the edge of the bag, we're going to prepare to put the zipper in. So decide which end you want up, where you're going to actually put the zipper. It'll be one of the longer edges. And then you want to turn your bag inside out so that the inside fabric is showing. I have marked the sides up at the top about an inch down, and that's where we're going to sew just to prepare to put the zipper in between.